Yeah, we have a really cool place down here. We've got, great staff. They're super friendly. They're knowledgeable. Our slogan's local brews and epic views. We're surrounded by great mountains. Got two super sunny beer gardens that are fun to hang out in, fire pits. And it's a great place to, hang out with some old friends or make some new friends.
Welcome to the Discovering the Last Frontier podcast. I'm your host, Lucas. Today's guest is a co-founder of an establishment I've been to on several occasions, not only to enjoy their fine bevy, but also to enjoy some of the phenomenal eats their partners in crime serve up outside in the food trucks. Before jumping into this week's episode, if you missed our last episode, I would have to say Eric and his brother did an excellent job covering what to expect on a drift down the Kenai River. Not only were they informative, but also very entertaining. If you love fishing, and more importantly, you love a good story, go back and check out episode 6. Now, joining us today is literally the third person in a row I've interviewed that is living a dream, or at least making a living in a way that I would consider a dream. Located near the base of Mount Alyeska in the Chugach mountain range is one of the coolest settings for a brewery you'll ever find. This brewery is where you'll find today's esteemed guest. Please welcome the co-founder of Girdwood Brews, Mr. Josh Hagna. Welcome, Josh.
Thanks, man. Yeah, totally living the dream, right at the base of Alyeska Ski Resort. Got beer on tap every day, and yeah, totally living the dream. You nailed it, buddy.
Yeah, perfect. Josh, the libations your team churns out are frankly phenomenal. But before we get into how the sausage is made, I need to have a better understanding of how Girdwood Brewing was founded and has grown to what our listeners might find if they visited today. Can you provide us with a history of Girdwood Brewing?
Yeah, dude. So we opened up about 7 years ago. March 15th will be our 7-year anniversary. Initially, we started this, probably 10, 12 years ago. Thinking it was going to be a pretty easy endeavor, not realizing how challenging it was to find property in Girdwood. Anywho, I ended up connecting up with some friends, Brett and Roy Marenko, and then Carl McLaughlin and Amy Shimmick too, and we found somebody that would build us a brewery on their land if we did all the permitting. And they said, yeah, dude, we can do that. And it turned out to be, quite the endeavor. We have the Girdwood, building requirements as well as Anchorage. So we had to go through the whole Girdwood process. So we had to go through community planning and zoning, Anchorage assembly and all that. But through that process, we really developed a lot of support within our community and turned out to be a good thing. So yeah, in 2017, March 15th, we opened the brewery with 5 owners, and everybody kind of had a different role. And it turned out to be a really good success. The community really opened their arms to us, and as well as travelers. So then, about 3 years went by, and we're like, man, we're doing really well. Let's expand. And so we created this expansion zone, which we're in right now. And that was in 2020. And I believe 3-4 days after we got permitted, COVID shut down the state of Alaska, and yeah, we, we're outside seating only to go, all that stuff, So we kind of pivoted and started doing to-go orders and got a canner. So yeah, back 2021 or 2020, we got the canner, and 2021 we're full on canning. So that made a huge difference. And yeah. And so now, we're going into 2024. We've got new alcohol laws in the state of Alaska, one which allows us to stay open until 9, and the other which is going to give us a little bit of flexibility with some more events. So, we continue to try to grow responsibly and, be a force of good in our community and, keep people happy.
Oh, that's very cool, Josh. And before we move on, could you maybe touch on some of the events or types of events that you're planning? Today's sponsor, Bear Cove Retreat. Let Bear Cove Retreat be your guide as you embark upon your dream Alaskan coastal adventure. Their off-the-grid, all-inclusive retreat is the perfect option for folks seeking a journey with unique experiences in a serene setting. Visit www.bearcoveretreat.com for more details. Could you maybe touch on some of the events or types of events that you're planning?
So yeah, with the new SB9, the passage of that, breweries like us, we are just a brewery. We don't have a restaurant license or a bar license or anything like that. So we're allowed to do 4 events per year. These could be any kind of live music entertainment. So we're set to do one. It'll be exclusive. I'm not going to reveal any more dates, but on May 4th, we're going to come do a little mini music festival here. And so that'll be a legal music at a brewery thing. And so we're pretty stoked about that. We'll also be allowed to do a little bit more leniency with, doing fundraisers than just providing like community, community minded events. So those could be something like we host our avalanche, organization here and, maybe display some avalanches up on the screen, stuff that was forbidden before. So, just trying to tie it to the community. So we get the 4 big events and then a little bit more leniency with other stuff. So we're going to see how this shakes out.
Oh, sweet. That's good to hear. I'm glad they're affording you that opportunity to do that. And 4 events a year, frankly, it's going to take a lot of planning and effort to pull that off. So it's probably a good way to start and get introduced into hosting those types of events. That's pretty sweet. So I've stopped in the Girdwood Brewery multiple times, but typically it's in the summer or fall time frame, and it's always really chill here. I love the atmosphere when I'm here, but I've never really been here in the winter or even the spring. Can you give our listeners some perspective on what the vibe is throughout each of the 4 seasons?
Yeah, sure. We're Girdwood's a town of, about 2,000 people, so we don't have a huge population, but each season's a little bit different, like you said. In the winter right now, we're sitting here recording this at, near the end of February. And right now, a lot of our visitors are, skiers and snowboarders, both from the resort and the backcountry, as well as snow machiners, ice skaters, Nordic skiers, people just coming in to have a beer and enjoy our food trucks. So, the winter time's that. And then, we go to spring, and spring is kind of real quick here in Alaska. So, a lot of people are still skiing, and it kind of transitions to biking, and we get that crew. And then around, June, like you said, it really kind of, the summertime is a different vibe. It really picks up. We get a lot of travelers coming through Girdwood. They could just be, stopping through the day, or maybe they're coming down to Girdwood to, hike, bike, and do that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, summers get, pretty busy down here, which is cool for us. And then it trickles down in the fall, and we get, kind of a more local, mellow, laid back vibe. So, summer's like pretty busy, and then fall slows down, and skiing, we get the skier crowd. And we kind of, with the new alcohol laws, we've adjusted our hours. So the cool, like, I think one of the big things for us is we try to be open every day. We are open every day of the week and every day of the year, except for Thanksgiving and Christmas. So our winter hours are noon to 9 on weekdays, and then on the weekends we're 11 to 9. Then come summertime, June, July, August, we're going to stay open, 11 to 9 every day of the summer. So I think that's, it's definitely different vibes, different times of the day. Like early style, it's pretty mellow. People's coming in for lunch, at the food trucks, and then later on, you start getting people coming off the mountains or hiking or whatever. And so, yeah, that's kind of the vibe we got going.
Very cool. That's good perspective, and it gives folks an idea of what to expect when they wander in. And for the folks that are traveling between, let's say, Anchorage and other parts of the Kenai Peninsula, it's a good turn off the road. It's not far off the highway, so it's a great spot to stop, have a beer, take in some of the phenomenal food, and then be on your way. I know that's how I normally take in the brewery. Okay, I'd like to get in the weeds a little bit here. Can you give our listeners a rundown of your favorite staples and perhaps a couple of your seasonal beers, seltzers, and, really what nuances set your brews apart from other producers of IPAs, stouts, Kolsch, etc.?
Yeah, so I think we came out with 4 core beers, and we keep those 4 on tap, try and provide something for everybody. We got our down the chute Kolsch on one side, which is a super light beer. We got our IPA-K, which is, West Coast IPA. We've got our No Woman, No Cryo, which is a New England IPA. And then we got what I'm drinking right here, which is a Hippie Speedball, which is a coffee stout. So those are the 4 core beers we have on tap. And our brew engineers, Brett and Rory, they really try to provide something for everybody. So it might not just be those four core beers. We also have some NA stuff in house. Like we do a cold brew coffee, we do a homemade root beer, and then we work with Zip Kombucha for our kombucha. As far as seasonals, we try to keep stuff fresh and we try to keep stuff cool. So like right now, we have a Uller Fueler, which is a pastry style, and Uller is like the ski god or whatever. So we try to do that kind of stuff in the winter. That's really, it's a good, strong beer for wintertime. Then kind of come summertime, we start, going to some of the lighter beers. We got like a Fairy Dust that we brew for the Forest Fair. And then as we trickle into, the fall, we got an Oktoberfest beer, a fest beer that's really good. And we do, some more stuff as far as, seasonal stuff goes. But as far as what makes our beer stand out, I guess, I see a lot of breweries jump around brewer to brewer. And we've had, the two owners, two brewers, Brett and Rory, mechanical engineers since the get-go. They're partners. They just really care about the product they're putting out. And, you're an engineer, and engineers do stuff. It's unlike me. It's always dialed and consistent. So I think that's one of the things. They spare no cost with our ingredients. And we've also got some really good, assistant brewer named Michael, who's been with us for a while, with Cellarham Paul. And we've got a really good back of the house staff that really, the quality. And, everybody says that, but our guys, man, they're not afraid to dump something down the drain if it sucks, And I think, the other thing we do with our beers is we do a lot of our beers we do for the community. So, for example, every year for the last 7 years, we've done a beer for our Avalanche organization. We think it's one of the best organizations around, saves lives. We do a beer called Abby Savvy. And I think this year we raised $3,000 for those guys. We've done beer for the fire department. We've done beer for, trails around here. We've done a lot of those kind of things. And big one we have coming up that's going to be released on May 19th is for the Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center just down the road by Portage, which a great mission. It's very, very much not like a zoo. It's a really cool place. So we've got a Helles lager, a German style lager coming out this May that's going to be called Hold My Bear. And so they have a number of fairs on staff there. So we're really stoked on that one. We've tried to combine with local artists to, give a package to this beer that, it's make it real presentable too. So we, team up with the local artists and so that's kind of, I think, where we kind of fit in a little bit different than everybody else.
Yeah, it seems like you're really entrenching yourselves in the community, which is great because when you think about where you're located and you're off the beaten path a bit, right? And you're kind of a standalone community out here, and having that pride and those roots into the community is just phenomenal. I really commend you for doing it and really running your business that way. That's really neat. So, aside from maybe just stopping at the brewery to get beers and seltzers and other items, is there anywhere else that folks can pick up your products? Are they for sale in other places, or is it only on sale?
Well, as far as I can, we sell 4-packs to go out of here and our beer on site. And as far as I can beer to go, pretty much we're the only place. We can't really keep up with, what we got going in house, but we do try to, really connect with our community. And one of the ways we've done that is through working with, our local restaurants and bars to provide something for them. So I think our first account was Jack Sprat up here. And, if you've not eaten a Jack Sprat, it's a delicious place, great food. If you're into meat, fish, vegetarian stuff, they got something for everybody. So we've been, providing beer for those guys for quite a while. Then also Alyeska Resort, we do a beer for them called the Alyeska Brewski, which is a hazy pale ale. And that's on tap almost always at the Sitzmark and the Boartide. Additionally, there's a couple other cool little restaurants down here. One's Spoonline and Hightower Pubs. So we give beer to those guys. Not give them, but we sell beer to them. And then outside of, Girdwood, it's pretty tough for us, but we do have 3 accounts that we routinely keep up with. And probably the biggest one is Palmer Ale House out in the valley, obviously in Palmer. And then Kinley's restaurant, which is located right next to Moose's Tooth. And then Whiskey and Ramen, which is a really cool high-end place. But other than that, occasionally we'll pop in at other places. But, That's kind of the core of our distribution model.
Okay, very cool. It's good to hear that there are other options, especially around Girdwood. So as folks are out and about, maybe making a day of a stop here, or they're here all week to ski or take in the other sites, there's other opportunities to pick up your phenomenal beers, that's for sure. Cool. You have some really creative folks working behind the scenes on your merch and advertising. I always admire it when I come in here. I see the shirts around town, those sorts of things. Do you have several members of the team contribute to that effort, or do you have one like guru that's all pulling it together? Also, what would you consider your favorite item for guests to pick up to best remember the great time in your?
Yeah, we'll start with the merch. I think the merch and the marketing are, kind of tied hand in hand. The merch is pretty much been ran since the get-go by my wife, Shauna, and one of our partners, Amy. They do all our planning, our ordering, and that's been a really big part of our advertising, getting this merch and the fact that people want to buy stuff that says Girdwood Brewing Company on it. It's quite flattering to us. And, so the ladies, my wife and Shauna, they're always trying to keep stuff fresh on the shelves, trying to get new stuff out there. And then we've got an army of staff that, make sure it gets on the shelves because that's a process. So that's kind of the merchandise kind of standalone. As far as like advertising, marketing, PR stuff, like I may be in charge of that, but I'm definitely not a guru. And we've got a whole team, namely Tim Ball, who, right behind your head, he did that little poster of the winter ski zone. He does all of our artwork for our skis on our chalkboard signs out front. He does a lot of our social media stuff, and he's done a number of cans for us too. And then, we've got, everybody tries to contribute cool photos. We really try to have an authentic presence on social media. There's nothing fake going on here. We live in a cool town. We've got, great beer. We've got a great setting with amazing mountains surrounding us. So yeah, we're pretty fortunate to live where we live, and we're really fortunate to have the team we have behind us that helps show that to everybody that has not been to Girdwood. So. So to answer your question, like what could, what do I recommend guests bring with them? I'd say grab a bunch of beer, 4 packs to go. But, as far as, merchandise, this new corduroy hats are pretty cool. But honestly, my go-to since we've gotten started with this are our hoodies. I love our hoodies. They're nice and comfortable. And I still have one that's, 7 years old. And so they're built to last. But we just, the stickers are cool. We just really appreciate people, repping on gear. It's, those ladies, ordering that stuff and working on getting that merchandise on the shelves. They work as hard as our brewers trying to come up with the latest trends, and none of us dudes are associated with, ordering the merch. So yeah, ladies have taken control of that.
That's funny. Every time we come here, either my wife or I walks away with a shirt. And so I'm going to have to suggest that perhaps next time we walk away with a 4-pack of beer. I didn't really know that was an option, so I might switch things up a little bit the next time I swing in. So good to know. So your beers are phenomenal, but I hate to say it, the food trucks that you host here, they're phenomenal, and I would say they're almost as favorable as the beers. Sometimes when we're coming through, it's like I'm a little bit hungry, and a beer would be great. Let's go to Girdwood Brewing. Because the food is so good as well. So you've got a lot of really good partners out there that are churning out some phenomenal products. What would you say are some of the favorite dishes that you've had from all the folks that you've had here on the various food trucks?
One of our sponsors today is Story Film Productions. Would you like some assistance filming a podcast or starting a YouTube channel? Maybe you're looking for someone to help create a commercial for your business, product, or service. Story Film Productions can help. This Minnesota-based company can help you tell your story in an impactful way through the art of videography. Visit www.storyfilmproductions.com to set up a free consultation to discuss your video or editing needs.
What would you say are some of the favorite dishes that you've had from all the folks that you've had here on the various food trucks?
Wow, yeah. So first of all, our food trucks they're a big part of our business. They're our partners, they're our friends. that are neighbors here in this town. And, it's kind of one of those deals. When we started the brewery 7 years ago, it's like, build it and they will come. And we thought, hey, yeah, we should have food trucks down here. And of course, it wasn't that easy to get permitted for food trucks because no one in Girdwood was really permitted for them. So we had to go through all those hoops. Now we're all legal with them. And, we have, every day of the year, pretty much we have food trucks on site here. And during the summer, we have 2 a day. During the winters, we have them on the weekends. It was really cool, how when we started this, they honestly, like a bunch of local people came to us and said, hey, if we started, because there were no local food trucks, hey, if we build a food truck, will you host us? Oh, yeah, definitely. And so we had, I think the first one was Blue Ristra, and Steve Schuyler, he was, coming to us say this idea if he's from New Mexico, he wanted to do a New Mexican food truck. Well, I've never had New Mexican food, but yeah. And so he started bringing us like Frito pies and stuff like that. And if something like that, like a spicy food like that, I think pairs really well with an IPA. So that was really cool. Like out here today, we have Craig State Paris and G and his family. They started that up and they did, sweet and savory crepes and, having those, their local family too. But having, a crepe with, a hippie speedball, either a breakfast crepe or a sweet and savory, sweet crepe really tastes good. And got another local dude, Toby, who does Girdwood Izakaya. He's here every Wednesday, Thursday. He has like ramen bowls and rice bowls. And yeah, I love pairing those with our down the chute Kolsch. Just really, I can drink more than one of those and he doesn't fill me up. And then, we've got one more local dude. He's only in the summer, Brewskis. He does Turkish food, really good. And then, like you said, and got a bunch of them coming into Anchorage too. I think this is one of their, appreciate people like you coming in first, to support them. But, I think this is one of their better locations to set up. So and he may not be from Girdwood, but the Hungry Deckhand, those guys, man, they make massive sandwiches and, you don't need to pair that with anything. You just eat one of those sandwiches and you're full for the day. They're huge, but fits with any beer. But yeah, we've really been fortunate to have some amazing food trucks that, work well with us. And, it's been a blessing to have those guys.
That is very cool. Thanks for all that information. So you kind of mentioned some of the pairings that you would recommend. Is there, like, if I was stopping in and I grabbed a beer, is there someone in particular in-house where that someone could say, hey, I'm looking, what's the best pairing for this beer, that sort of thing? Is that something that your brewmasters, yourself, others are willing to hand out that advice?
Oh, great question. So our staff, almost all, we've got some new people on staff, but almost all have been through the Cicero beer server training, which there's a little bit of food pairing with that. So I think any one of our taproom attendants can offer pairing advice. One of the cool things our food trucks do is they feed our staff. They give them a free meal every day. And so our staff is, privy to every offering they have. And yeah, so like I think you could ask anybody in here, person pouring your beer could give you some great advice.
Okay, that's great to know. Great to know. Okay, so before or after our guests make a stop into your brewery, what are some of the other happenings in Girdwood you'd recommend visitors take in if they have a few hours to spare? And maybe you can kind of tee it up, whether it's kind of more of the winter time or more of the summertime. What would you recommend folks do while they're in the area?
Yeah, great question. We live, like I have the opportunity to live anywhere in Alaska, and this is my favorite place. I love Girdwood. It's just absolutely beautiful. So in the winter, obviously, we've got Alyeska Ski Resort, which is great for skiing and snowboarding. But in addition to that, you've got really good Nordic ski trails or snowshoeing or dog walking around here if you want to do that in the winter. I think one of the new additions to the resort, something I'm not dialed into, but my lady is the Nordic Spa. And so that's, I think, open year round. And that's a series of tubs and pools. And it's a one-of-a-kind deal in Alaska. And they have saunas and, a little bistro over there. And that's kind of its own little world. So I think that's definitely a new thing, and as far as winter goes. Any time of the year, though, I mean, Girdwood, I got married down here 22 years ago before I could live down here. Coming down here to eat at the Double Muskie or eat at Jack Sprout was always a treat for us. So there's, great dining down here, and just the drive down from Anchorage and the drive down to the peninsula is, in itself a beautiful experience. And you can see the belugas in August. You can see, the mountains and the goats. And, it's really just a spectacular place to go. And then in the summer, we've got, the hiking and biking. There's downhill biking up on the ski resort if you're into that kind of stuff. I'm not. Seems a little crazy to me, but, just the biking, hiking, all that stuff. We have world-class trails around here. We used to have a hand tram that used to go across Glacier Creek, and that was a super amazing experience, to, be able to pull yourself across this hand tram, and it kind of connected the hotel area over to Crow Creek Mine. Unfortunately, there were a couple of fatalities over there, at least one fatality and one accident. And so they've shut that down. And one of the things they're talking about doing now is building a suspension bridge. And it's a pretty expansive project that everybody supports. And I think that's going to go in. So that'll be really neat. That trail by itself is, just a complete gem. And, driving down there, you watch the pour tide, we're one of, on how many pour tides in the world, but it's very unique to have a tide that goes through and watch people surf that. And I mentioned earlier in your podcast about AWCC, Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center, and that's 10 minutes down the road. I think one of Alaska's top attractions. And, if you got an hour to kill and you've never been there, and like I hadn't been there until, a decade or so ago in lifelong Alaska, and it is amazing to see the animals out there in their natural habitat. The mission those guys are doing is really cool. So yeah, Girdwood's just, if you want to go shopping, got a great local ski shop up here. Alyeska's got a number of shops. There's a lot to do down here other than the brewery. I mean, you can come down here at night and go to the brewery and have a great time. Although we augment the experience nicely.
Awesome. You're an incredible ambassador for Girdwood. That was a great overview, and there's really not much I can add. I've got some experience in Girdwood. I've been to many of the places that you've spoken about, and I would wholeheartedly agree. It's a great place to visit. It's a great place to spend some time at and really take it all in if you have the time. I'd totally recommend it. So for all those folks who are out there and they're considering a stop into Girdwood on their drive from Anchorage, or maybe they're enjoying other amenities in town, what is your final pitch to sell them on swinging into the Girdwood Brewery?
Yeah, we have a really cool place down here. We've got, great staff. They're super friendly. They're knowledgeable. If you can't really see it here, but, our slogan's local brews and epic views. We're surrounded by great mountains. Got 2 super sunny beer gardens that are fun to hang out in, fire pits in the winter. And, I think we're just, we really, try to give back to our community, and, it's a little bit different experience than your regular brewery. And I think if you're local or if you're a visitor, I think you come in here and everybody kind of gets to sit down and talk and feel like locals and share their experience. And it's a great place to, hang out with some old friends or make some new friends. It's, I enjoy coming up here, and I sometimes don't wear my Girdwood hats. I just kind of blend in and sit by a fire pit and just, talk story with people. And yeah, it's been a great experience having this. And I think we, kind of created this community gathering place, not just for our community, but for our mountain community, our, community of visitors. And, we appreciate everybody stopping in and checking us out, grabbing some beer to go, or just grabbing some beer to stay, or some food.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Josh. So that was super informative and interesting. Here's how I would sum it. I love food. I love beer. I love stopping at this place. It offers it up, and it does it so well, which is why I stop over and over, and why I needed Josh as a guest on the podcast, frankly. So it was great. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing everything about the brewery as well as Girdwood in general. It was phenomenal. So thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys.
I hope you enjoyed this week's episode and look forward to catching you on the next episode of Discovering the Last Frontier. Take care.